All right, welcome back, students, to day two. This is the second part of our day, where we discuss various departments and folks on campus who, again, we trust, as well as other students in our department. And today we have Professor Kanga from the Black Studies Department, who will be taking us through some of the classes and courses you can take, but also they'll be discussing um, how to declare Black Studies as a major at CCP and why. Um, and if you already, if you're already fully focused on the major you've chosen, how to incorporate what you learn, both ideologically and historically, from those classes into the framework of whatever you're creating as far as your career path, um, and how to make those intersections possible. So without further ado, I turn it over to Professor Kanga. I will make you a co-host if you would like to share any PowerPoint slides or anything.
Awesome.
Cool, thank you.
Right. So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to community. Yes, I'm glad to virtually see all the little black boxes representing you all. It looks like a full group. So I'm going to share a presentation about the Black Studies program, but it would be great to have conversation to a certain degree as well. So I'm hoping that we can get into some really good Q&A. Let me get out of here and share. Where are we? There we go. Okay, so I'll do a short little intro. My name is Professor Kanga. Hey, good morning, Richard. um, so my name is Professor Kanga. I teach I'm a faculty member and I teach in the English department, as well as I teach courses in Black Studies. I teach primarily the capstone course, which we'll get into a little bit later. And then I also teach a whole range of courses under the English hat. So you should come check me for English classes, whether it's 098, 101, 102, or the lit courses that you may have to take. I teach African American Lit 1 and 2, as well as African Lit. I also am a coordinator of our Colleges Study Abroad program. So different conversation, but a lot of these interests are what I kind of bring to my classroom, and I'm always advocating for global learning and learning about issues pertaining to global Black communities as well. So for me, that's how everything kind of comes together for me. So a little bit of background. Why do I keep going back there? A little bit of background about the Black Studies program. It was started, I would say maybe 3 or so years ago at this point. A few faculty members were interested in kind of revamping what was there before. There was another program that was there called the African Diaspora Studies Program, something along those lines. And so a whole crew of us, a group of us, including Boss Man and some other administrators, as well as faculty members from various disciplines, kind of all came together and decided to revamp what was there before. So our new Black Studies program, which we affectionately call it BLAS, BLAS, is really a study of global African and African American communities that focuses on their cultures, migratory patterns, the politics and what informs their lived experiences historically as well as currently. And so we focus on pretty much 3 main things: social justice, critical race theory, which is something that is apparently being highly debated now, as well as leadership experiences, which students tend to get through the BLAS 290 capstone course. We also, a key component of the courses are, we have our core, we have BLAS 101, which I'll get to, BLAS 102, as well as BLAS 250. We also have the BLAS 290, which gets, again, offered as needed. It's our ending course. And so all in all, you have these 4 courses that make up the program, but you also have other courses that you have to take, right? Gen Ed courses and things of that nature. Some of those Gen Ed courses tend to be contextualized. What does contextualized mean? It means that, okay, if you're taking my like English 102 research courses, pretty much all of the course work you would be focusing in on while you're doing your research paper would be Black themed, right? And for me, predominantly, it will be talking about things like sustainable development, social justice, amongst global Black people. That's usually how I teach my English 102 courses. And English 102 is a research course, by the way. So we have a few courses that are scattered around like that. And if you're interested in kind of pinpointing what those courses, those contextualized gen ed courses are, please either email me. I have a slide towards the end of this presentation with my information on it, as well as Dr. Debonair Oates Primus, who is the academic coordinator. And she'll be able to kind of give you a bit more guidance on which particular courses have been contextualized. Because I'm assuming most of you are going to be getting into either 098 or 101. Thumbs up if that's correct. Yay, okay. So 61 is a 61 credit program. It's transferable. You would want to, and I know that Corey asked me to kind of talk a bit about why take the course, and I'll say a little bit about that, why take this program and who do you speak to and how to declare it a major. I'll kind of jump in and out of that question at different times during the presentation. But if you are interested in declaring the major, it would simply go to your academic advisor, I believe, and Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, because that's not quite my wheelhouse, but you would also talk to Dr. Debonair Oates Primus, who is the academic coordinator for the BLAS program. In addition to your academic advising, they would give you some sort of form that you would need to fill out, and voila, fill it out, and now you're a BLAS major. We'll talk a bit about why you might want to do something like that as well. Okay, so I think I mentioned the contextualized courses as well, some other courses and what they do. Some other ones outside of the English discipline is FYE 101, first year experience, as well as sociology 101 and English 205, which is a creative writing course. And there are a host of other courses that you would be required to take that include maybe history, the sciences and things of that nature. So it will be a nice blending of disciplines that you're looking at. Okay. The special topics course. So we already talked about the contextualized courses. One other key part of the BLAS program is the special topics course, which is called BLAS 250. And when you look it up on Course Finder, when you're at the point where you will be able to take it, which is, I believe, maybe the prerequisite would be for 102, you would have to have successfully passed 102, English 102, which is the research paper. I think you can also take it concurrently, which means that you can take English 102 and BLAS 250 at the same time as well. So that is our kind of golden nugget there, BLAS 250, because we can kind of fit in a whole bunch of really interesting topics within that one course, and it will rotate, it tends to rotate. So you're not taking the same course twice. In the past, we've had, there was a hip hop and ethics course that was designed, but because of low enrollment, we weren't able to get that back on the books again. We did have a course called the Beyonce Renaissance, which focused on gender, race, and culture and art, which was, I think we ran that last fall. And that was a very successful class. It was taught by one of our communication professors, Tracy Lewis Giggets. She's awesome. So if you have a chance to take any of her classes, please do. Um, and we also are interested in other courses. It's kind of our wish list: Afro-Caribbean history, prison industrial complex. Actually, I think last I heard there was some work being done with within the law and society kind of this department, or the I think it's, what is it? Corey, what is Billy's wheelhouse? Billy Love. What is his official title? I always draw blank. He's a
Billy
dean,
Love.
but yes. What's his official? He's the dean, but he deals with all kind of courses that deal with legal, with the law. It's not
Yeah, the law
necessarily
department,
pre-law,
the
but
law center.
it's, yeah. And so the courses that run through that, I think there is a course that they're trying to have a collaboration between Black studies and focus and the law classes that they're taking. And I think it will be interesting to see what comes out of that. I think the last course maybe they had was something along the lines of like race and social justice that was on the books. And I think that they're trying to kind of revamp that a little bit. So there are a lot of kind of interesting things you could check out when it comes to the BLAS courses. And then I also mentioned the BLAS 290 is a key part of that. This course is really designed for people who have declared the major, and then at the very kind of tail end of their coursework, they take this mandatory class, which focuses a lot on leadership and community engagement, and has a 15-hour service learning component. And last year, we were working with Bartram's Gardens, Sankofa Farms, primarily talking about food and justice issues within the Black community. And so we're revamping it a little bit, opening it up, so it's not solely focusing on that this semester. So I think that we're going to have, we have other people who are interested. There's an organization called the Philadelphia Serengeti Alliance. They do a lot of work in Tanzania, and they're based in Tanzania as well as in Philadelphia. And so they're interested in student involvement. So we might work with them, and they want people to come visit Tanzania. And I've been there before, it's amazing. So again, anytime I can, I always try to kind of get a travel component into coursework or global experience into coursework, I'll do it. So there's that. And then I have another potential partner who's interested in collaborating with students who was a former Africana Studies major. She currently is academic coordinator for I think it's the Black Studies minor at Bryn Mawr College. And so there may be a collaboration there, but they have a class and they're interested in pairing. And so it would be interesting to see what service learning looks like with our students here and there. So we have a whole bunch of opportunities, long story short, that are popping up. And she actually organizes and coordinates a fellowship in Northern Ghana. So again, there are so many interesting possibilities within the capstone course and within most of the BLAS courses in general. So quick recap. What we've offered in the past: Intro to Black Studies, which is what everyone kind of takes. And you can take these courses, one at a time. You don't have to declare a major. If you're just interested in what is this all about, you can just, sign up, register for the BLAS 101 courses. BLAS 101 and BLAS 102 are taught by Dr. Anya Buile Love. Student favorite. He's an amazing educator. So much to learn from him. Inspiring. I mean, students just love being in his classes. They always max out. And so he teaches BLAS 101, which is Intro to Black Studies, and it's pretty much why do we study this? It answers that question. And then we have BLAS 102, Black Theory and Social Change, which he also, takes you through kind of get your feet wet into all the Black political thought and how that has evolved over the years. And I did mention that we had Black 250 already that was taught, which was race, gender, and Black art. So here, Professor Giggets, this was her kind of announcement for her class. And this past spring, we had studies in Black film, that was taught by Professor Nuana Gates. And again, amazing class. And actually her students from that class participated in a exchange with students from South Africa. And over the month of June, the college held a global summit where we focused on social change in different countries, Cambodia, Costa Rica, and South Africa. So for the South Africa week-long series, some of the students from this Black film class had an exchange with students in South Africa and some of the activism that's happening there. It was really profound, really powerful. And so, I think what's great about kind of the faculty is, the program is growing. As the program is growing, we're always coming up with new and interesting ideas that will kind of get students to be interested and see the importance of taking, even if it's a class or two, but definitely the major. And we're always open to suggestions for how to kind of refine our thinking about things as well when it comes to course offerings. So what to look out for? We will be offering Intro to Black Studies this fall. And I don't know if you have had the experience of trying to register yourselves through Course Finder. Yes, no, I don't know. But that's something that you can definitely get support with. But our system is pretty user-friendly for the most part, for the most part. And the courses are easy to find. So once you kind of go to Course Finder, log in through my CCP, all you have to do is select BLAS and all the BLAS courses will pop up there. And so we're offering this fall Intro to Black Studies. We're also offering a special topics in Black Studies, Black Girl Magic. Excited to see what that's going to be about. And then this fall, again, we will be running the Community Engagement and Service Leadership BLAS 290 course for BLAS majors only. And it is a requirement to graduate. So it is an important course that students must take. Other courses that are running as well, and that are important to your learning in general, but especially if you took on the Black Studies major, African American Lit 1 and 2, African Lit, African American History, and we also have Intro to Sociology. That's a contextualized course taught by Professor Layla Dunbar Keys, and she's a pretty awesome professor as well. A lot of students rate her, so so it's good. It's good. It's a good class to take. I'll stop for a moment and see if you all have any questions now that I've gone through all the tech stuff about what the course offerings are. Are there any questions either you want to say out loud and unmute yourself or that you want to put into the chat?
Is this all virtual or is it is it in person too?
So I believe the BLAS studies 250, BLAS 250 is a hybrid course, which means that you meet on campus some portion of time and online the other portion of time. The Intro to Black Studies, virtual. Most courses that you're going to be taking, I believe, are going to be virtual, either comprised of synchronous or asynchronous kind of formats. There will be some courses, and this is college-wide, not just for BLAS. There are some courses, depending on the department, that are offering, because they need to be, it's the design of the course, like maybe it's a lab or something like that. So it will be in person, face-to-face. But they're trying to kind of think through that carefully because, we have to be aware of, make sure everyone's safe,
Right.
so. Yeah. So out of an abundance of caution is the language we've been using. It's going to be a mixture of virtual, and in our case for BLAS, it'll be virtual, but there will be a hybrid component, which is BLAS 250. But I think BLAS 101 is fully virtual. In the future, I'm sure that will shift as things change, evolve, whatever, that is going to need to shift. Yeah, because it's just amazing to be in a class together, especially with some of these really dynamic professors and just being around that space with your peers. So, so that's it for now. But again, hopefully it will change. Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah. So for the um black and black studies is for intro for BLAS 101. Homecoming is for um uh, homecoming is for black for the intros of the leadership.
For the BLAS, the leadership course you're talking about, or the intro to Black Studies?
I'm saying about both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying about both of them about the BLAS for conversation for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like for let's study group that we shall
Oh, this one here, this Mbongi BLAS study group.
yeah.
Thank you for pointing me to that. Yes, so what has kind of evolved out of the BLAS program, kind of under the leadership of Dr. Anya Buile Love, Dr. Love, and in kind of coordination with our, I think we have a Black Students Alliance here as well. So they all kind of got together and decided it would be great to just have these conversations that stems from the things that they learned in class and talked about local community issues, grassroots issues, and just things going on within their communities, world in general. And so this study group kind of started off as just a way to kind of talk. Mbongi, what that means, and it comes from, I think it's Twi in Ghana, and it means it's like a circle, come let's all fellowship together, okay? And it's like an open learning space. So Dr. Love does a really great job of getting the students to, in a sense, lead it. It's student-led. So they have certain maybe texts or readings that they might be interested in digging into a little bit more. But then what ends up happening is it moves into a larger conversation about what's happening in the world around us. And it goes to support the learning, further support the learning that you're getting in the class as well. And so that is a flyer that the students created when they were regularly meeting, of course, when we were still all on campus. And it was a pretty good group, pretty energetic, civic-minded group of students who, were excited about just this type of learning. We always tend to hear, often tend to hear whenever we had the few classes we had before the BLAS program, oh, we love this class. Can you tell us where there are others that we can take? And we would always look at each other like, oh no, not too many. And so, the BLAS program kind of fulfills that need as well. Apologies, I have a landline, I'm old school. So, so disregard that, Corey, sorry that if that's messing up the recording.
Not at all, not at all.
So I can find out what they're doing, how they've kind of reinvented that. Maybe they're still meeting virtually. That gets a little bit tricky sometimes because everyone has different responsibilities throughout the day. But I know that the group was pretty active. And again, some of the more active students were really interested in other ways to become involved and do more kind of leadership centered things throughout the college. So, they would talk on panels. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to bring in a student who was available during this time, but they love to talk about their experiences and their learning and how that's been evolving as well. And getting out there into the community and meeting kind of professionals who are leaders within the Black community as well that we bring in as speakers. Because outside of the BLAS program, we also, when we were on campus, hosted a lot of events, like campus events, community events, things of that nature. So just other things to look out for that. As an educator, yes, learning is an amazing thing that happens in the classroom, but I also believe that as much learning also happens outside in other spaces as well. Yeah. So so we kind of try to bring that into the type of work that we're doing with the BLAS program. Oh yeah, okay, perfect. So yes, the Black Student Union, this is their mission, if you will. And it's led by Dr. Love. And, you know, I'll just key in on the last sentence, you know, that they have here, that we are somebody, we have roots, we are proud, we have dignity, and we are truth, we are Black and beautiful. It reminds me of, I think it's Molefe Kefe Asante, Dr. Molefe Kefe Asante, who might have said something, who they are re-echoing something he said about the importance of learning about Africana studies or taking a BLAS major is to kind of sometimes even just simply recognize that we are owners of history and literature and culture and arts, not renters. What does that mean, that we're owners of history and not simply renters of history? What does that mean to you? Owners of history, not simply renters, like to rent an apartment.
Uh, I'm trying to visualize. I don't know. I might got a wrong sense of it, but from my understanding, I believe it's it means something that you're in. That I'm guessing like the history that you get it's always going to be in you, I guess, or it's like you own your history. Not saying that you only have this certain amount of history that you got for like let's say you paid like 3 months worth of rent or something like that. You ain't gonna just have that for 3 months. It's gonna be with you all your life. I believe that's what you try. That's what it means.
I love that. That's a great way to look at it. I love that. Thank you. Anyone else? Owners, not renters.
Yeah, I should say for the history is like when we are a student at campus and that we were in a different country, like when we're living there into a different state, and also for that campus is like where we're trying to find a place that we were going to meet someone at our college, like we're doing in college grad 3 to do the flags, and then meet the new people who's a new professor, like we were doing flags and books and um, trying to use the different shirts for them to go some places, like we were trying to be proud of ourselves to be a Black person or be a truth person, like to be a um um to be a to be a um good person, to have intelligence of ourselves, to show them that um we are Black, and some of them are white, like to do things right for our um union, for our countries of the presidents, or for each one that we shall vote.
Yeah, absolutely. As you're talking, you're reminding me of kind of one of our, kind of a saying that we've coined in a way for the BLAZE program, and it's find your village, blaze your path, right? And so I'm thinking about that a lot in what you said about community building, and how community is an important part of that, growth and that evolution. And so you're going to find that too with the BLAZE program, because CME is highly involved with BLAZE as well. So if it's mentoring, if it's some sort of guidance, personally, academically, I'm sure you've already gotten a lot of support from the program already, so you already get a sense of what that would look like. Anyway, so yes, we are able to know, and this is kind of a lot of what I kind of gravitate towards when I think of that quote and I think of what the Black Student Union's mission is up here and some of the stuff that we do, that there is something valuable, right, that you have already within yourself that was there before, and your generations have had it before and has been there culturally and historically. And that, you know, we, no matter kind of how the diaspora has been spread about, and unfortunately history has been kind of whitewashed in very significant ways, the quote then reminds us that you had something, there was something that you had, you came from value, you came from a home, you came from a community, right? And so our program is an attempt at kind of reminding and recentering that, that lens, right? That we kind of sometimes forget and only see things through this very Eurocentric framework. So then you think that history, civilization, culture, and all these things started with those groups when in fact you already had it. Kind of like what I see going on with the TikTok content creators, the Black TikTok content creators, right? That their work has been the debate and the, what is it, stop TikTok or something, hashtag that's been going around, like, you know, Black content creators are doing amazing things, but then it gets kind of intentionally or otherwise like mixed up and whitewashed and mainstreamed and made it seem like it's just tech culture, as opposed to, you know, Black culture, that this originated out of, you know, Black cultural spaces in a way, even the smallest of things that you might not consider.
Yeah.
And so there's so much to read into that, but I think it's this kind of ownership and valuing of self that's really important of your own history, of digging it out and knowing what that is even, right? Of being curious about, you know, well, we've always been taught that slavery, that, you know, history started with slavery. No, it didn't. History preceded that, right? And so these are like some of the things that you end up learning and unpacking in our classes that we have. And it is only a 2-year program, so the learning begins here, but it continues elsewhere. So I also don't want to make you think that when you leave out, you'll have everything you need to ever know. You're constantly growing, evolving. I'm constantly learning and open to learning. And so I think that, you know, conversations such as these, meeting with community, right? They help keep you sharp and keep you abreast of things that are happening. And so on that note, there's also a program that's called the Black Scholars Mentorship Program that, as you're here, you should check out a bit more. Dr. Aubrey Nance, she's also part of our BLAS advisory board, who she's the coordinator, I believe, of this program. So if you want, I don't know all the details. So if you want more detailed information, please screenshot this slide or just write her name down or ask one of your counselors or coaches. They should be able to talk a bit more towards that. Let's see. Okay, so, and I think I already spoke about this in a way.
Wait.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, let's go back.
It's okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Right, great. All right. So we are back to the question, why Black studies and what can I do with a BLAS major? And so I'm going to be a bit tongue-in-cheek in my initial answer, and then I'll give more details. Why Black studies? Well, why not? What can I do with a BLAS major? Quite a lot, more than you might think. And again, we'll talk a bit about that more, but I think the question is interesting, why Black studies? Because, you know, for example, and this is maybe the work that needs to continue to be done about linking the academic part more with the community so that it isn't such a question Also, there is a sort of weird lens that we're seeing it through when we're asking why Black studies. We wouldn't ask a nurse why nursing, or, you know, what can I do with this degree, this law degree, right? There will be very direct answers and avenues. And so I think that that's kind of the connections that need to be made more. Also, because Black studies is such a multidisciplinary field, you can go into so many different avenues with it, as you see by the list that's here in terms of careers. You can be a BLAS major solely, 61 credits again, and transfer to another college if you'd like, and finish the degree and get a 4-year degree. And you can also pair it with your current degree whenever you declare a degree or a major, sorry. You can also pair it, because what you'll notice here is that some of these tend to have very technical things. They're very skills-based. For example, if you're a nurse, or if you're in the nursing field or something along those lines, there's certain skill sets that you will need to learn. So it will be a nice pairing if you wanted to be a nurse focusing in on Black communities. Why Black studies? So this quote here, right? And think about this in relation to the conversations we've already been having, as well as that quote from before about being owners and not renters, right? So that's one place to begin. You want to be able to kind of, as they call it, decolonize the mind, like recenter your thinking about some of these systems that we have that, you know, there's a phrase that that we've been using called institutional racism, systemic racism. Well, when you get into a really focused study of how these systems work, when you get out there into the world, it kind of prepares you to be able to identify what's happening there, because you'll have kind of, outside of the feeling that something's off, you'll have the language and kind of some of the theoretical knowledge and history, and perhaps other, you'll be able to draw to mind other organizations and solutions for how to resolve a problem, right? A lot of our liberal arts programs here at the college, and Black studies is included, they do tend to be, again, very interdisciplinary. So when you're looking at a problem, you're looking at it from a variety of disciplines, not just kind of one. And Black studies does that. So it is in African American studies. They call, this program is named African American Studies, but they all essentially do a similar thing in terms of focus, with some differences. You'll find courses taking on issues affecting Black people, such as gentrification, medical disparities, food deserts, historical erasure, and economic equality. With the disciplinary nature of the programs, it is a perfect place for scholarship that is reflective of various perspectives, including those of sociologists, historians, economists, and political scientists. And that's kind of one of the things that we felt was really, really important, at least in this, you know, grounding of students into a Black Studies program, is that we wanted to connect what they learn in the class with what's going on in their lived experiences in their communities. In one of our trips where we took students to Tanzania, there's this kind of brilliant Tanzanian engineer that we met through the Nelson Mandela African Institute of Science and Technology, which is a grad school, and they also have doctoral studies programs there. And so one of the guys there, he's won all these kind of awards for what he calls a nanofilter. And a nanofilter is simply this device that he created that takes out all the particles of bacteria out of water. So in Tanzania, they have high levels of fluoride in the water, and that affects their health or impacts their health. So he is interested in finding ways that they can use theory and marry it with, you know, action within the community. So the academics and the community work together, right? all the learning you do, and you bring it back into your community. And I find that it's something that people are talking a lot more about, not even recently, but over time. So, and for a reason, right? Because we're seeing all these things that are happening in the world. So people kind of want to dig a little bit deeper into why are these things happening, and learn more about history and kind of these patterns of oppression that are constantly evolving into other things. And so I think that, and I even read an article about this, that especially last summer, a lot of people were going back to bookstores and kind of looking up a lot of information about things like resistance movements and things of that nature. So one, there's the learning part, but two, it helps you in your field and inform your action, whether it's in your community and helping to problem solve within the community and listening to local leadership within your community and how they can be supported, right? As well as gives you a personal just insight into not only kind of culturally what a certain cultural history is, but how you're connected to that, right? That you're a part of all of these bigger things that have been unfolding over years. So I know I'm speaking a bit abstractly, but I think that there's so much you can do, is my point, with a BLAS major, Africana Studies major. I believe, Corey, you also have a Black Studies major, or Africana Studies major. So I don't know if you want to jump in there. But there's so much to do. I mean, I put ... because the list is really endless. You know, you can micro focus, you can be an anthropologist focusing on indigenous rights within Kenya, right, in the Maasai. You know, you could do so many different things, you know, but I think it helps sharpen your lens a bit, especially when you're pairing it with something else, like, for example, in healthcare, right? So anyway, I don't want to over talk it, but Corey, I see you might want to say something.
Also, you can be a support coach at the Center for Male Engagement.
There you go.
So I went to grad school at Temple University for what was then, it was called African American Studies. Now it's called Africology. And it was actually founded, it was the first Black Studies program grad degree in the world, led by Dr. Malefi Kete Asante, like Professor Konga mentioned. But yeah, so the reason why is I think that everybody, like I always tell, you know, the students, your mission on earth is to help, right? But how you help is aligning your passions and your skills. Also, who you want to help. I believe that it is okay to be niche with the demographic that you want to serve. Me, I knew I wanted to serve Black and brown folks. So I knew I needed more information because what I was getting wasn't providing me with the level of, like Professor Konga mentioned, the freedom to own my history and to own the future, right? We're not just taking crumbs from the table anymore. We created our own table and we make our own food, and we are owners, not renters, like was mentioned. So the way it works in my job now, so you know, I work for Black and brown men like yourselves, and it has provided me a different framework from which to help. Like we always say, we are not working from a deficit model. There is nothing we need to fix in Black men. There is not something we lack. So it changed my framework into thinking of different ways to support, to uplift, to hold, and to build again that trust based on all the framework and even the language that we use. You'll notice, like when speaking about enslaved Africans, I will never say slave because that is a derogatory word to me. Language is very important. Enslaved, because you can be in chains, but your mind is still free, right? The language of metaphors, right? I'm never gonna say rich as Bill Gates. Why? You know, we got Jay-Z out here now. We got LeBron James. We have Mansa Musa. We got Oprah. Like, we have all of these people to which to refer that look like us. So I can go on for days too, but it really has a lot of intersections when it comes to how we view ourselves and how we think about ourselves. That is really impactful. So yeah, I cannot stress it enough. It changed my life. So definitely I would take Blaze 101 and then go from there. It's only up from there.
Nice. You know, the way I sometimes like to think of it is, okay, so I have an 11-year-old, soon to be 12-year-old son. He's really into anime, like really into anime and manga. And he had to do this whole career thing. And we started talking a little bit and about what exactly he was interested in that world. And he's like, okay, design, but then like design characters that like I can relate to that look like me. And because there aren't any kind of people in tech doing that, or the gaming world. And I said, well, have you looked it up? Do you know if there actually no one's doing that? Are you sure? So he looked it up and he found out, again, not a lot, but that and again, there are people doing the work, right? There are people, they might not be as hailed up or as visible as, some others, but people are doing the work. And sometimes it's not all about creating your own thing. Sometimes it's joining and supporting the work that's already being done as well. And so learning about all of these things, I mean, just the learning itself, that there's Afrotech, right? Right, that learning about Black farmers, right, and land justice and
If I
land
may,
in the US as well as globally. These are all important things. Yes, sorry, Corey.
yeah, no, I'm sorry, but what you're saying is on point because, like, for instance, Black and brown women are often at higher risk of not being listened to
Absolutely,
in the
management.
healthcare industry. So if you're going into healthcare and you have a Black studies minor or even major in your undergrad career, you can reframe how you view Black and brown pain. If you're in tech, I know a lot of facial recognition software does not recognize dark skin. If you have a Black studies major, you can literally change algorithms of how computers view us. Marketing, a lot of times, people market towards the stereotype of us, right? But you can change that, right? So it's all inclusive as far as if you have a desire to be I can't say the word economist. There it is. I was like, where is an economist? How can you serve Black and brown folk who are getting, played over in the capitalistic society we exist in now? How can you reframe that? So, yeah, I digress.
No. This is not even a digression. This is completely on point, And so, yeah, so there's so many avenues to go. And so it feels very abstract when you talk about this, but it's not, it's very concrete. For me, it's just as simple as what I ask students to do in my research classes, which is, go outside, look outside of your community, pinpoint something that if you fix it today would help your community thrive. And we take it from there. And we always end up getting into like all sorts of conversations, whether it's about mental health, whether it's about Black pain management, right? And a lot of my nursing students that come through my class, they inevitably write about this topic because of their own lived experiences, either as, caretakers for someone or personally, something happened to them. And we all probably have a story where it's like something felt a little bit off, not sure what that was. And so again, and I also don't want to make it seem like what we're talking about here is only feelings either. What I think Corey did was great is to remind us that we're talking about systems and frameworks that we're attempting to kind of chip away or dismantle completely, and that by getting these types of educations, right, that you're better prepared to be able to do that, even for the most selfish reasons, that it will benefit you and the people you love, right? Even if it's for the most quality of life, right? And to help me thrive, so let me stop because I'll get too, yeah, I'm getting too excited and I'm checking the time. So I want to leave room for questions, but here's our information. Please feel free to reach out. And I will just, I guess, stop this share and then just open up for any, ooh, there's a lot of things going on.
Wait.
Oh, I'm
Wait.
sorry. So sorry. Let me get back.
It's okay.
I
Or
was
you
trying
want
to
to stop
copy
the
that.
recording?
Or just
Yeah, so we're so Richard, we're gonna post the I'm gonna stop recording.